Hello again from my front porch. I'm happy today. Well, I mean, I try to be happy most days, but today I'm especially happy because I have rejoined the modern era. That is right. I am back to feeling civilized, or at least civilized in terms of communication. My internet is back on. Yay! Now that may not seem like a big deal, and you might be thinking, well, you should have paid the bill sooner. But that wasn't the problem. See, on Monday of this week, today's Friday, on Monday of this week, major storm blew through the Midwest. And now when I say blew through the Midwest, I mean blew through the Midwest. They say there were no tornadoes, but it was hurricane force winds. Rain, hail, caused lots of damage, and just unbelievable. It took out power to thousands of individuals, and then also other services as well. Now, in our case, here at the house, power went out Monday. By the end of the day, Tuesday, power was back on. So that was good here. Wasn't as good for other folks. In fact, I think there's still some people who still don't have power all these days later. So that'd be pretty miserable. Fortunately, the weather has been mostly temperate, in the 80s with a breeze. Got up into the 90s a little bit yesterday, but still it hasn't been like oppressively hot. But it has been a little muggy, especially the last couple of days here. So those who are getting the power back on now, I'm sure, are very pleased about it. I was a little concerned yesterday that the power went out briefly. The power company was here actually on my street, working on place across the street that had a line down going to their house. And apparently to fix that, they had to disconnect the rest of us to hook stuff up. But they got that resolved and it's fine. But then today finally I noticed that my internet, my cable TV and my internet service came back on. And I'll tell you what, you don't really fully understand how dependent you are on electricity, number one, and internet, number two, until you don't have it. I was using the hotspot in my phone to try to get online every now and again to do some stuff, but that was sketchy at best too, because everybody and their dog was using their smartphones now for internet, because there was no way to do stuff at home, or a lot of businesses that were shut down because of power. Stoplights, streetlights everywhere, the streetlights and stoplights that were out everywhere. And I'll tell you, you learn a lot about other people when you're all sitting at when it's a intersection, a four-way intersection with multiple lanes from each side, and you're all sitting there with one of those little portable stop sign, four-sided stop sign things there, and you're all supposed to take your turn. You learn a lot about your fellow human beings when you're in that kind of a situation, and it's not all good. But still, I am happy to report that there really was no damage at my house here. They had a couple of tree limbs down that were kind of sizable, but they didn't hurt anything in their fall. They were on my back deck and were able to be dragged off the deck and thrown on the burn pile and stuff. But as far as damage goes, I got off lucky. There was not really hardly any. Again, a couple of tree limbs, but that was it. No damage to the house or the outbuildings or anything. So that was good. Others not as fortunate. And in fact, I took a little drive around the neighborhood just yesterday. So this is Thursday. Remember, the storm was on Monday. And yesterday, I took a little drive at the end of the day, and I filmed a few things that I thought I'd just throw in here, where I drove around and I was struck by the amount of trees that were piled up. People have started to cut the trees. They've started to cut them up into smaller log, manageable log size things. But even when you look at that, you look at the size and the amount of these piles that are that line the streets, that line the roads, and you get a feel for just how much of this stuff fell. But it wasn't even just the amount of things that fell, it was the damage that was caused by some things. And so, I drove by some spots where there was, a little bit of damage. You could see where there was, oh wow, that tree really was damaged. That really was there. But there was one street that really summarized a lot. Now again, this was on Thursday. There were a lot more of these scenes earlier in the week, but on Thursday still there was a street where the street's closed off because the power company is there, and they're trying to cut back some of cut up the big tree pieces that were down. In fact, I'm not convinced there wasn't even some entire trees that were down. But large limbs that had fallen had taken out power and had destroyed a poor pickup truck that was left in the parking lot across the street from these houses, it just was quite the scene. I am very glad though and grateful for those power company workers who were out there during all of this time and are still out there doing work during this time. The power company workers, the cable workers, all those individuals who, some of them maybe they don't even have power back at their houses. But here they are out doing the job of trying to get everybody back up and running, and I appreciate that. I think that's great that they were out there doing that. I know they're getting paid, overtime, and they're getting paid well for that. But still, that's a lot of work, and I'm very appreciative that they were out there to do that. We talk about the essential workers and things like that when we're talking in the COVID situation, but I think the essential workers clearly are those that are doing the jobs that the rest of people don't really want to do. I don't want to be an electrical guy climbing up the poles and messing with that. I don't want to be a garbage truck driver that goes around. I don't want to be an automotive repair technician. A mechanic. It's not that I look down on those things, but I just have no interest in those things. I have no desire to do that kind of job. But I sure am glad that there are individuals who do those jobs and who do them well. Whose services I depend on, I count on, and I can't say enough about how great those type of individuals are that take on those jobs that we all so desperately need someone to do. And here are these individuals who step up and say, "I'll do it," and they do it, and they do it well. And in the case of the electrical workers, the utility workers and the cable workers and all that, here we are now in a situation where we need those kind of people. We need people who really know what they're doing, and fortunately they're there. Fortunately they are available, and they're getting the job done. So kudos to them for all of that. But from my vantage point, it's just good to be returned to civilization. To not feel like I'm on Gilligan's Island with a cell phone that's about to die, whatever. What was the movie with Tom Hanks, The Castaway? Is that so at least I don't have to feel like that anymore. All right, well, anyway, now that my internet is all back and everything, well, now I have no excuse. I better get back to work. So with that, I'll let you go, and I'll see you all next time from my front porch.